New gun legislation will take effect in California January 1. The state will be able to seize your legally owned gun if they think there's a threat of violence. Now, despite the stricter restriction, gun sales in the Golden State have been on the rise, perhaps because of it. Joining me now, Rob Taub, political analyst, and back Jan Morgan and Jessica Tarlov as well. All right, Jan, you know, you're our Second Amendment expert. You own and operate a gun range. What do you make of this? Because I think this is the beginning of a major gun grab in 2016.
I'll tell you what, Charles, the people of California better get a handle on their lawmakers and do some removal of people from office. And if they don't know how to do that, they need to contact the folks in Colorado who quickly removed several of their representatives when they tried to impose some very strict anti-gun laws on the folks there. But tell you what, the biggest problem I have with this whole thing, a judge can come in and you're presumed guilty, and you have to prove yourself innocent, which is the opposite of how our system is supposed to work. The judge, based on the word of a police officer or someone in your family, can simply, without even talking to you, remove your gun for 21 days, and then you've got to somehow prove that you're not crazy after all. That's a big problem. Secondly, it attacks a situation that's not the root of the problem. Guns are not the root of the problem.
Sure.
Just last week or two, we had a woman who was mentally unstable commit mass murder with a car. Actually, cars kill more people every year than guns. So if we're going to really get to the issue of saving people's lives, we need to get rid of cars. We need to remove knives. If people are so mentally unstable that they shouldn't be around firearms, then they need to be institutionalized because they can use other forms and weapons to kill people.
Here's the thing, though, Rob.
Yes.
You know, almost every time one of these horrific incidents happens, people say, wow, people knew, the neighbors knew, the family members knew, someone knew, whether it was San Bernardino, whether it was at the Planned Parenthood. So the ability to say, hey, you know what, I think my brother is off his rocker, he owns a bunch of guns, can you guys do something? Is that far-fetched in an era when we're being told to see something, say something?
It obviously hasn't worked, and I think we'd be naive to think that we don't need some kind of change. You can't go to the bathroom tomorrow night in Times Square. So if you told somebody that 20 years ago that you weren't going to be able to do the New Year's Eve, they'd tell you you're crazy. If you told them you couldn't smoke in a restaurant at one point, they would say you were nuts. So I think that you have to expect change. We're having a change in our societies and in our culture, and laws are going to be adjusted as a result.
Jessica, you can understand why people who are legal gun owners would be afraid of this, because it feels like, you know, it feels like, and we know that some sort of executive action is coming from the White House, that this is the last year that the left can take guns, which has been their ultimate goal.
Well, no. I mean, we'll have 8 years of Hillary Clinton, and she can take your guns, too. No, I completely agree with Rob's point. And what I would say is, you know, you referred to San Bernardino, where the weapons were purchased by their friend, right?
Well, I'm just saying, no, here's the thing is,
someone in his family saw him buying weapons for no purpose, and knew that maybe he was hanging out with these people who we know were radical extremists, I think it's great that we're creating a system where that could be flagged. We have to trust in our judicial system that a judge will not just be taking guns willy-nilly, that there will have to be a significant burden of proof to show that that person should not have a gun. And when we know that mental health checks are not sufficient, we know there are loopholes.
Jan, I don't think that there's going to be, you know, this sort of deep down, you know, vetting in California. I think every judge will go at this in their own pace, and if any judge has an agenda, they're going to collect a lot of guns.
Exactly. And the biggest problem I have with the arguments from your other guests is this. Any society that is willing to give up liberty for the sake of security deserves neither and will lose both. And we are on a very slippery slope here. That is giving way too much power to a judge based on the word of another person. No due process. That's a problem.
I think it doesn't have to be just one person. If you look at it, I think that there has to be sufficient proof.
No, but we're talking about the California law. I think it only has, you know.
I know that we're talking about California law.
But the bottom line, though, it is a slippery slope, and we know next year is going to be one of those tug of wars between the Second Amendment and those who want to erase it. Thanks a lot, guys.